Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Herp Monday number 47 and we have a special one for you today. Today's Herp is one of those that everyone should be aware of. Knowledge of this turtle is what is actually bringing this turtle back from the brink of extinction. Today we are going to be talking about the painted river terrapin, or just painted terrapin. So painted terrapin, or scientific name Batagur borneoensis, again that is Batagur borneoensis. It does have another scientific name, well it shouldn't, but it is also known as Caligur, I believe, but I believe the proper name for it now is Batagur borneoensis. It is part of the family Geomyidae. It is one of the largest and most diverse families of turtles in the world. It's got tons of species. It's really hard to describe the family, to give it general characteristics. There's some specifics, but it's really difficult to just pin down a couple of facts about this species, about this family of species. In terms of the painted river turtle, it is found in the rainforests of Brunei, Borneo, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. And they really prefer river estuaries and mangrove swamps. And they stay in usually fresh water, or maybe a little bit brackish, but they're usually in fresh water, which is a little bit unique. Usually terrapins are a little more saltwater, but these really stick to fresh water. It is a medium-sized turtle, kind of large. Females are larger than males, as per usual in turtles. Remember, the females are usually larger because the larger a female is, the more eggs that she can produce. And females usually average between 20 and 28 inches, which is 50 to 70 centimeters. Males, on the other hand, usually only reach 12 to 16 inches, which is 30 to 40 centimeters, so just over half. I did find that the heaviest ones, the upper limit of its range of weight, seems to weigh about 25 kilograms, which is 55 pounds. So it does get large, don't get me wrong, but it's not like your giant sea turtles or your Malayan giant softshell turtle. It is a beautiful turtle, and in my opinion it's one of the most beautiful in the world. It's got this white head, this red stripe right here on its head, pale shell. It's got this bordering on its shell of black, and then it's got these three sort of broken up lines or patches going down the shell as well. It's really unique. I do believe that it is one of the most beautiful turtles in the world. However, most of the year, both males and females look kind of like this, or like this. Real brown or gray, no color whatsoever. You can usually their shell is light enough that you can see the rows of stripes going down the shell, but it's usually very just brown, gray. Females usually are a little bit browner from what I've kind of inferred, but usually they're. But it's when breeding season happens that's when they get these real colors. They change from that gray, they brighten up. The males turn white with this red stripe in between the eyes on top. The shells lighten up, makes the stripes more prevalent. Just really beautiful. Something about this turtle is these do actually have webbed feet, so you know that they do spend most of their time in water with that. Webbed feet, better swimming, things like that. They also have this kind of smooth oval-shaped carapace, and this pointed nose. And that pointed nose, like most softshell turtles, this is not a softshell turtle, but a lot of soft shells have that. That nose, if you remember last time we talked about it, it's been a while, that nose helps them to stay on the bottom and extend their neck way up to just be able to put their nostrils above water without actually physically having to expose themselves completely over water to get their breath of air that they need. Now, as far as their diet goes, they are actually primarily an herbivorous turtle. That's not too terribly common. It's more common than people think, but it still seems to be less common than I believe. They are like, okay, we'll go on with that. So they're primarily herbivorous, and they're feeding primarily on aquatic plants, but they also feed on fallen leaves and fruit. And there's some evidence to where they will go to where they notice a lot of monkeys in the trees, because apparently monkeys like to throw fruit down in the water just to either play around or they drop it. I'm not entirely sure, but they will eat the fruit that is fallen from the trees. And that's actually how zookeepers will do it as well. They'll throw fruit into the waters, as they'll do that with anything thrown from, you know, people coming through the zoo. So just, if you do see this, be a little careful and be mindful of what you're throwing, because they do seem to really like going after things that are thrown in the water. Now, something kind of unique about this turtle is they actually have 2 breeding seasons. If you notice, I said a little before they have breeding seasons. I don't know if you caught that, but they actually have 2 breeding seasons. Most animals only have 1. Might be a long one, but they usually only have 1. But this turtle has 2, and they seem to be between June and August, and then there's another longer one between October and January. And what that seems to do is it seems to coincide with dry seasons. So during the dry seasons, they go and will breed. That's really interesting, in my opinion. To have 2 separate breeding seasons. You'd think this would be an incredibly successful turtle if that's the case. You know, with 2 different breeding seasons, gives you double the chances, right? However, compared to other turtle species, the painted terrapin actually has a very small clutch size, which is the number of eggs. There are only between 10 and 12 eggs usually laid by a female. That combined with a very limited range of nesting beaches, which is where the females go to lay their eggs, this makes it incredibly easy for poachers to find and capture the individuals to sell them either for meat or to sell them in the pet trade and to collect their eggs. And that's really important because eggs are actually worth over 5 times. Okay, I'm saying this wrong. So the painted terrapin eggs are worth over 5 times as much as chicken eggs in some parts of Asia, meaning they're worth, 6-7 times more. And chicken eggs are not actually that cheap. When you actually have to go buy and think about what you're doing. Turtle eggs, imagine a turtle egg being that easy for them to go. 10, 12 eggs, you say, $1 an egg. That could be, $100 very easily, might I add, very easy money. And it's very obvious when this has happened because the females will actually migrate to these nesting beaches from the rivers, very specific nesting beaches. So it's very easy for the poachers to hone in on them and know when the breeding season happened and when they are laying their eggs. All of this combined with the very active pet trade, the fact that they are also heavily sought after for meat, makes it to where it is ranked among the top, it is in the top 25 most endangered tortoises and turtles on Earth. But I said that, and it's still available in the pet trade. So please, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, please know if you're going to buy this turtle, know where you're getting it from. Ask your supplier or where you're buying this turtle. Who is your supplier? Where is this turtle coming from? And do a little research. There are captive bred specimens, and I have no problem with people owning this turtle as a captive bred, if they can raise it up, if it's from a raised facility, a proper raising facility. But if you're doing it from the wild, you know, you're talking about a female might be one of the last ones in a select genetic strain. Like, it's incredibly endangered. So please, if you do decide to get this, just make sure you're getting it from a good, reliable, and ethical source. So now that we got that out of the way, let's end the video on the fun fact. So the fun fact that we're going to end the video on today is the fact that this turtle, being so close to the ocean, actually does not have a salt excreting gland. Do you remember how I said terrapins usually seem to prefer brackish water, but this one stays in fresh? That is why. Since it does not have this salt excreting gland, they are forced to stay in fresh water, and they cannot be in greater than 50% saltwater freshwater mix. That's why they will get into the brackish water a little bit, but they really stay in the freshwater. But if you remember what I was saying, the hatchlings are going to these beaches. And so how are the hatchlings surviving? Well, it turns out that the hatchlings can survive for at least 2 weeks in 100% seawater directly after birth. This adaptation allows the hatchlings to migrate away from the nesting site, and then they follow, as they get older, they follow the declining salinity gradient up into the freshwater streams. So they basically have 2 weeks, and if you know anything, you've all seen the videos of turtles, hatchling turtles trying to crawl out of the nest to make it to the ocean, you know, the sea turtles. And imagine this turtle not only has to do that, but within 2 weeks, if it survives everything else, within 2 weeks it has to make its way back up to the freshwater streams. Versus, you know, other sea turtles, they just have to make it into the ocean and then try and survive out there. So they have to survive the ocean predators and then make it up into the freshwater streams. And if you know anything about baby turtles, everything loves to eat baby turtles. So even though it has 2 breeding seasons, it is, quite frankly, just an insane probability that a young painted terrapin actually makes it to adulthood. So all these reasons are why it's endangered, and it's all these reasons why you should be aware of it. And if it's in your zoo, go see. Go during June and August. Go during the winter months. See the males that are developing breeding colors. It's incredibly beautiful and incredibly unique. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and have a wonderful American Thanksgiving.